So I will be describing all the bones. First, we have the skull with the cranium right here. Then we have the mandible right here. Right here we have the clavicle. No, this is the clavicle right here. This part actually, that's like the shoulder bone area. Right here is the sternum, and then we have the scapula, which is a lot in the same area. So the scapula, no scapula, the clavicle is right here actually. The scapula is this part actually. This is like the shoulder bone area. Let's not call it that. And at the bottom right here, as you guys can see, we have the spinal column. So I don't need to name all the individual parts, but I'm sure you get the idea. Then she is missing her arms, but right here would be the scapula, not the scapula. Right here would be not the radius. It would be the humerus right here. Actually, sorry. This would be where like your elbow connects to your main arm right here, and then at this arm, your forearm. Since she is missing her arms, I can't really show you, but there would be the radius right here, then the ulea, which would connect to your more like forearm area, which would be right here. Then your radius is more on this side, like a dome. And then we'll go down right here is the pelvis. We have the femur, which is this large bone right here. And then we have the patella, or the kneecap, or pretty sure it's just called the kneecap. Then right here we have the fibula, and over here is the tibia. Wait, no, sorry, I got the inverse. This is the tibia, and this is the fibula. And right here are the distal phalanges. These are your toes. Then we have the metatarsal bones, which are up here. And then we have the tarsal bones, which is these bones right here. That's good. And down here, where her arm would be, the hand would be around somewhere right here. And there would be your carpal bones, which would be the bones in your hand. And then your phalanges, which are just your fingers.
So we believe that Mr. Bones is a female European because of her skull. As you can see here on the photos, compared to these other two skulls, her skull is more smaller and narrow, and her eyes are more circular and a little squarish like the pictures here. And her nose bridge is more defined and higher than the other skulls, and her nose is more narrow.
So I am responsible for measuring the height of Ms. Bones. So first of all, I measured the femur. So I took the measurements of the femur, and it measured to be around 16 inches in length and roughly 16 or 17 inches in length. And then I determined the measurements of the pelvis part, and that equates to around 7 inches to 8 inches in length, roughly. So not exactly, but that's where I got it, the total amount from. And then the skull, I took measurements of the skull and the length and the width, mostly the length, which accumulates to around 8 inches in length. And then I calculate like the other parts and bones, and like determining the entire like height, which is 5 foot 1 inches in length.
I was also responsible for giving the sex of her skeleton. So we have mentioned she is female, and this is because look at her pelvis right here. It's hard to tell because it is put down, but her pelvis is wider than would be a male skeleton. And if we go up here, as you see in the jaw is very like rectangular right here. But with males, the jaw is much more slanted. You can see that even in younger males, the jaw slanted, and right here, so we have that rectangle shape, and you can't really tell because it's not connected right here. But you can tell that this is more of a female mandible, and also her skull, or her upper skull, right here. You can see that's very rounded. In the back, a male skull would be more like a not really a square, but more flat top. So with this, you can see that there's like a less padding right here, which is what you would find in females, and also with just the small size of only being around 5 foot that also is the trait in females. You know, short size, wider pelvis, smaller mandible, and a smaller skull. All those reasons, we've come to believe that this is a female.
So I am analyzing the height of the real skeleton. So first of all, we are looking at the femur. This is a male femur, and this is, so basically measured the length of it, and it turned out to be around 17 or 16 inches tall in length. So this is the male femur. And then move on to the pelvis, male pelvis. I measured one of them, and it would be around 8 inches in length. It's not necessarily a important bone, but I decided to do it anyways to give like a more accurate measurement for the whole height of the person. Next up, we have the male skull, and so this is the male skeleton, and we determined that it is a male Asian skull because the nose is more narrower. It's more narrower than like the other skeletons we checked out, and also and we also know it's a male skeleton because the head shape is more rounded, rather than being a narrower, being like the female being like all the way cut, like turned into like here. But for here, the skull is more rounded and more smooth, and yeah, and then the eye shape, it's like more squared in a way than other skeletons we also analyzed. So yeah, that's the ways that we could tell that it is a male Asian skull.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I forgot the clavicle, with the collarbone. Yeah, in my rush, just kind of forgot it. It was in the box with the ribs. So if I can get a picture of it tomorrow, I'll show it on the screen right now. Additionally, Tyrone mixed up the heights for the skeletons